Hey guys, if you are new, my name is Vanessa, and today I have some more meal prep inspiration for you, or motivation, just to get a few things done to help set you up for the week, the month, whatever you want to do. Meal prepping can be super easy, just getting some produce ready to snack on during the week, or a few breakfasts made, or even freezer meals. So I have a few different things on my agenda for today. Some of these are left over from my list that I wanted to get done in the last meal prep I shared with you guys, but it is a new week. I am also going to be making a fresh batch of dog food for the dogs, and I think I'll try to introduce them in a little bit as well in this video, just in case you are new, because I do get a lot of questions about my animals. A lot of you guys are animal lovers just like me, as well as over on Instagram. You guys are always messaging me, asking questions about the dogs. So I will try to introduce them the best that I can, but you know, having multiple of anything, it gets a little crazy in the house. So with that, let's go ahead and start checking things off of my meal prep list for this week. Okay, so we are starting this meal prep off at night. Well, it's late afternoon because we haven't had dinner yet. So the dogs are going to run out of breakfast, their breakfast food, tomorrow. So I wanted to go ahead and make a fresh batch for the rest of the week. And this time I won't trick you. This is what I am putting in it. So I have 11 eggs. I used one in a recipe earlier today. So I've got 11 here. I've got some butternut squash I'm going to add in there, coconut oil. I got this big bag of spinach, mainly for the dogs, but we might use it in a smoothie or two, we shall see. But I'm gonna put some spinach in there. And then one of the recipes that I got from Every Plate, we utilized all the ingredients. We made it a meatless meal. So we utilized all the ingredients for a lunch the other week, and I just kept the meat. That way I could, you know, we're still using it. So I've got 4 packages of ground pork here, and that's it. No seasonings, no nothing. This is it for their breakfast. All right, so I've got my 11 eggs all scrambled up in there. And then I have about 3 pretty big spoonfuls of coconut oil that I am just melting into my pan. And that's melted enough. So I'm going to add my eggs, and I'm just going to cook these up. Okay, eggs are done. I just put them back in the same bowl that I like scrambled them up in. And then I'm using the same pan, and I've got my 4 packages of pork in here. Again, no seasoning or anything. I'm just going to cook this up until it is completely brown. Okay, the pork is done. And now I'm just going to add in, and I had this in the freezer, so it's already like a little wilted from being frozen, which is helpful. So I'm just gonna add in, I think 3. Let's see, we're gonna do 2 there, yeah. And I still have my heat on just to help the spinach wilt a little faster. Look at that steam because of the frozen spinach. That's crazy, that's kind of cool looking. Okay, so I added in 3 pretty big handfuls, and I'm just going to mix this into the pork and get it nice and wilted. All right, that did not take long at all. So I've got my heat off now. I'm adding in the eggs and this bag of butternut squash. Oh, you know what? I don't think that's all right. It's pretty mashed. So I froze this, but this is like a fresh bag of butternut squash. So I froze it, that way it would get nice and mushy and easy to mix in for the dogs. All right, so that is everything that's going into their breakfast. They'll finish off the breakfast that I made in the last meal prep that I shared tomorrow morning, and then this will be good for the rest of the week. This is a Monday, FYI, that I am filming this. So that one breakfast lasted about a week. So like I said, I'm just gonna get this all mixed together, all these nice fresh ingredients, and then get it into a big bowl, and the dogs are set for another week. Okay, we are moving on to making the dog food for the week for their dinner. I fed them the last of what I made last week tonight, so I need to make a fresh batch so they have fresh food starting tomorrow. So in my Instant Pot, I have 6 chicken breasts. They are still, I pulled them out of the freezer right before I started cooking the breakfast. So they've only been sitting on the counter for a little bit, and then I just unloaded the dishwasher and I was like, okay, I'm gonna run these under some warm water just to help thaw them enough to get them out of the package. So they are pretty frozen. I did have a little, normally I just use water, but I do have a little bit of beef broth in the fridge left over. I didn't use an entire carton, so I'm just trying to use that up. So this chicken is gonna have a little extra flavor, but not much. So for my liquid, I added 1 cup of beef broth instead of the water. I'm going to get my lid on, set my pot to sealing, not venting, and because these are super frozen, and last week my chicken breasts were really large, but they weren't completely frozen, 8 minutes, they were still a little, like just the tiniest bit raw, which is totally fine for dogs. They can have raw meat. I just prefer to cook their meat. So I'm going to cook these for 10 minutes. I know they probably do not need 10 minutes, but I just want to be on the safe side. And again, raw meat is completely fine for your dogs, but as always, you know, don't take my word, double check with your veterinarian what they think is best for your specific dog, age, breed, all the things. But my vet said it was okay. I just don't like feeding raw meat. So anyway, that's gonna come to pressure. It's gonna take maybe 5-10 minutes, and then it's going to cook for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to shred it with my hand mixer. And while this is cooking, I'll show you guys what else I'm going to add into it. All right, so I've got the breakfast over here cooling off. I'll put a cover on that and get it in the fridge in a little bit. My chicken is cooking, and then these were 2 items that I had for a dinner, 2 different dinners actually, last week, and we kind of just moved things around, and you know, sometimes it just doesn't go as planned, but they are not going to go to waste. So I went ahead and cut up the mushrooms, and then this is just some chicken and apple sausage. I could have popped it back in the freezer, but I was like, you know what, it's fine, it's already out, it's, you know, thawed out. So I just cut it up into little bite-sized pieces, and I am going to just cook this a little bit, get these mushrooms nice and super soft, and heat up this sausage a little bit, and I'm going to add this into the shredded chicken, and then I have 2 more things that I'm going to add into their dinner as well. All right, my chicken is done from the Instant Pot, so I just pulled it out, put it into a bowl, and like I said, I'm just gonna shred it using my mixer. It makes it super quick and easy. Okay, I've got my chicken shredded and added to my pan here with the mushrooms and sausage. And I am adding in 2 cups of frozen peas and 2 cans of light red kidney beans. All right, so I'm just gonna mix all of this together and let those peas get a little heated up there. And then this is going to be their dinner for the next week. All right, so I got the dog's food prepped last night. It is now the next morning, and I have a few things on my list to just add to this week's food rotation. So I want to make a breakfast casserole. The last meal prep I shared, I made a sweet casserole, and now I'm making more of a savory. I wanted to make both of them in the same week so the kids had 2 to pick from, but I absolutely love that blueberry one. I do want to try to make that same recipe but with strawberries. I think that would be really good because most of my kids do prefer strawberries to blueberries. But anyway, we are going to make the savory one now. So here's all the ingredients that I'm going to be using. I've got some already fully cooked chicken sausage. You could use ground breakfast sausage if you wanted to. I already had this, so that's what I'm using. Some croissants that I'm going to cube up, a green bell pepper. I could add green onions also, but my daughter Paige loves cooking with green onions like every single day, and I only have a few left, so I'm gonna save those for her. But if you wanted to, you could totally add green onions as well. A little bit of salt, some milk, some shredded cheese, and then 10 eggs. So first up, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cook up this sausage. It's already pre-cooked. I just want to heat it up so it's easier for me to cut into little bite-sized pieces. I'm going to cut up my croissants here, just kind of make them like little bread cubes. And then I'm also going to dice up my bell pepper. All right, I've got my oven preheating to 375. I got that started as I started dicing everything up, and I did cut my finger just a little bit. This dang knife is so sharp. It is, what's the brand? Victorinox, I believe is what that says. We got this from the kitchen store in Fredericksburg, Texas. We definitely wanna like start upgrading all of our knives. This one is fantastic. There we go. Oven just beeped at 375. So I've got my green bell pepper diced up. I did about, I think this is 10 links of the chicken sausage that I just diced up. I cubed the entire package of croissants, and then I've got my 10 eggs in here that I just quickly whisked up. So I'm going to add 1 cup of milk, and I'm gonna add an extra third a cup also. All right, so there's my 1 1/3 cup of milk. I'm going to add in a good pinch of salt. Give that a little whisk. Okay, I've got everything set here. So I've got my 9x13 pan. I am going to spray it. I just have this avocado oil spray that I like to use. Going to get my crescents all in the bottom here. Just gonna spread them out a little bit, make them more even. Then I'm gonna add the bell pepper. This is a lot of bell pepper. I really love bell peppers. My kids aren't the hugest fans, but they'll either pick it out, eat around it, or when they see how much I'm putting in here, they'll just eat it. So I'm just going to add that in here. I just didn't want to cut up. Half of bell pepper probably would have been great, but then I have to think of something to use the other half with. So I was like, you know what? We're just gonna go big or go home. All right, I've got that in there, and now I'm going to add my sausage. And really, you could add whatever you wanted in here. If you wanted bacon, like I already mentioned, green onions. I'm gonna spread this out just a little bit. I kind of dumped that on there. All right, and then I've got my shredded cheese. So I don't measure this. I just go by what looks good to me, and we all love cheese in this house. So I'm just going to completely cover the top with it. All right, and then we are going to end with the egg mixture. So I'm just gonna pour this just as evenly as possible all over the top of my casserole. So this type of casserole you could also make the night before and leave in the fridge and just take it out and bake it the next morning. But I am gonna go ahead and bake it now. So like I said, my oven is ready, 375, and I'm going to bake this for 30 minutes. All right, guys, so while my croissant breakfast casserole bakes, I'm going to try my hand at making some homemade Pop-Tarts. It seems really, really simple. I've never done it before. So I've got some puff pastry sheets here. It comes with 2 of them. So I've already cut one up like I need it, and then I'm about to cut the other one up. So all I did was I just opened up my sheet. I'm cutting it in half. And then I'm gonna, oops, sorry, I hit y'all. And then I'm gonna cut it in thirds. So I'm gonna get a total of 6 Pop-Tarts, which is perfect if each of us want to have one. We are a family of 6, otherwise the kids can just all share them. All right, so I cut it into 6, not very evenly, but hey, homemade stuff is very forgiving, it's fine. So I'm going to spread these out just a little bit on my cutting board to make them easier to work with once I get the filling in. All right, so you can fill these with whatever you want. I already had this blackberry fruit filling by Lucky Leaf in my pantry, so that is what I'm going to fill mine with. But like I said, you could do anything. I mean, you could make these, you could put Nutella in here. You could do any other kind of fruit filling, apple, strawberry, whatever. But I already had this on hand, so that's what I'm going to use. So while I fill these, I do have my oven preheating to 350 degrees. And I'm just gonna put, I don't know, we're gonna do 2 spoonfuls. I don't wanna do too much. And if you hear that scratching, that's one of the puppies wanting to go outside. I'll let them out in a second. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get my 2 scoops into each of these, spreading them out just a little bit. I don't wanna spread them out too far because I am going to be closing them up with the other layer. All right, now that I've got all of my filling on, I'm gonna take the other pieces from the other sheet that I cut and just lay them on top. And then to close the edges, I'm going to use a fork to kind of crimp them. So, can you see that? Let's move you a little bit. Look at that, looks just like the edges of a Pop-Tart. How cool. I think the kids are gonna get a kick out of this. I actually might just do the edges that I can and then transfer them to my baking sheet. I'm gonna line it with parchment paper, and that way I can get the edges that I can't quite get to on this cutting board. All right, and then that is it. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up this. All right, I've got my Pop-Tarts on here, and then I'm just going to rub a little water on top. That's what I have read. I know some recipes call for like egg wash, but everything I've seen for like Pop-Tarts, it's water. So that is what I am doing. And as you can see here, I already have some leakage going on. So maybe 1 spoonful would have been fine, but that's okay. These are still gonna be absolutely delicious, even though they may be a little messy. So now that this is done, I'm going to get them in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes. So I'll look at them at 15. I just wanna wait until they are puffed up and like a deep golden brown. Oh my goodness, this smells so good. So the croissant breakfast casserole is done. I'm going to let this cool off, and I'm totally gonna have a little piece, maybe a medium-sized piece for breakfast this morning. So once it cools off a little bit, I'll cut into it so you guys can see what it looks like. All right, so I got a piece out, a little bit of stickage, but not bad. And you guys can see kind of the inside there, but oh, yum. I took a little bite already of a piece that was stuck in here, and definitely love this, and we'll make it again. I think it would be really good with different toppings as well. So maybe next time I'll do either bacon and green onions or even ham, diced up ham. Yum, yum, yum. All right, Pop-Tarts just came out of the oven. I actually went 21 minutes. I was gonna go a little bit longer just to get them a little bit more brown, but I did not want them to, you know, cook for too long and be too tough to eat. So I felt like 21 minutes is good. I'm gonna let these cool for a few minutes while I eat some breakfast. I'm gonna finish eating my little slice there, and then we will make the glaze to go on top. Okay, let's make this glaze for our Pop-Tarts. So I've got my bowl here that I'm gonna mix everything in. I'm going to add in a cup of powdered sugar. You could just do like a sugar glaze, but I want it to match my Pop-Tarts. So I'm adding in about a tablespoon of the blackberry filling. And then I'm also going to add in about a tablespoon and a half of milk. If I need more, if I want this to be, you know, the consistency more runny, I can always add more. Okay, and I'm just going to whisk all of these together. Okay, I'm just going to spoon a little bit of this glaze over each of the Pop-Tarts. I'll come back and spread it out a little bit. Okay, and I'm just gonna spread this out a little bit. It will harden a little bit, so it's okay that it's, you know, going all over the place. Homemade Pop-Tarts are definitely messier looking than store-bought ones, but I bet they are going to taste a lot better. I personally am not a fan of store-bought Pop-Tarts. I don't know, just don't really like them, but my kids love them. Let me know if you heat yours up. My kids actually like them plain, just straight out of the package, but hopefully they are fans of these ones. All right, so you could leave these, but we are gearing up for Valentine's Day, and I have a ton of sprinkles. So I am just going to sprinkle some on top. I know the colors kind of clash, but I still think the kids are gonna get a kick out of this. All right, my Pop-Tarts are done. I'm gonna let them sit and let the glaze set, and then they'll be ready for my kids to enjoy this week. Okay, so next up, I picked this up from the Dollar Tree, this Enticingly Easy brand. They actually have several different flavors and like types of seasoning mixes to pick up. I've tried a few of them and they've all been good. So this is their taco dip mix. And on the back, it shows you how to do taco dip mix or this 3-layer taco bean dip. And I actually have everything but the cilantro. So I'm gonna go ahead and make this bean dip. I feel like this will just be something different as an after school snack for the kids this week. Having this, we have some chips on hand. So I'm gonna go ahead and just follow the directions and mix this up. So mine's gonna be a 2-layer. So I'm going to mix my refried beans and the salsa together, get them in my baking dish, although we're not baking it or anything. And then I'm also going to mix up the sour cream, some more salsa, and then the mix that is in this box and spread that on top. And then I will top it with shredded cheese. So like I said, this will just be something different and still easy for after school for the kids to snack on. It does say to refrigerate for 2 hours or overnight. So they will have, it'll have been in the fridge for plenty of time for today after school, or like I said, just during this week. All right, so it's still a 3-layer dip actually. I guess I was thinking the cilantro was a layer on its own, I don't know. But I've got the refried beans and salsa mixed together as my bottom layer. And now I am mixing up some sour cream, more salsa, and then the seasoning packet that came in this box. I'm gonna mix that up and get it on top. All right, I've got the sour cream layer on, and I'm just gonna use the rest of this cheese and layer it, I dropped some there, layer it all over the top. This would be great if you guys do like Taco Tuesdays. We're actually having fish this week on a Tuesday, so not really anything taco or Tex-Mex or anything like that, but I'm going to utilize this as an after-school snack for the kids. So I'm gonna get some just foil on top and get it in the refrigerator, but there we go, a little treat for this week. All right, so now that I've made something for the kids to snack on after school, I'm going back to the dogs. I'm gonna make them a freshly baked dog treat, minimal for ingredients. I've got my oven preheating to 350, and these will keep for up to 3 weeks in the fridge. So I don't even remember where I found this recipe. I don't have it saved or anything. I just have it written down on a little piece of paper. So I will have it written out in the description box, but I am doubling the recipe because again, I've got, 4 dogs in the house. So we do have to make a lot more food and snacks and stuff like that than the typical household. So I've got some oatmeal right here. I'm going to be using 1 cup of oatmeal, 2 cups of flour, a cup of peanut butter, and then a cup of water. And all I'm gonna do is just mix these ingredients up into a bowl. Okay, I've mixed it the best that I can with the spoon, but there is a little bit that just is not mixing in the bottom. Oh, okay, never mind. It's not as bad as I thought, but oh well. Going in with my hands just to make sure that it is nice and mixed up. I do have a baking sheet here lined with parchment paper. It just helps with the sticking and also with the cleanup. If you guys do any kind of meal prep, you know how fast those dishes pile up, and it's one of my least favorite chores to wash the dishes. So all right, that is all mixed up, and now all I'm going to do is just roll my dough into balls. You can do whatever size you want, how big, how small. I'm doing mine more of like a medium. I mean, mine are not gonna be uniform. They're all gonna be different because I'm just pulling the dough, but like I said, you can do it however you want. So I'm just gonna fill my baking sheet here. And then my oven did just beep, so it is ready at 350. All right, I've got them all rolled out into balls. My oven is preheated to 350, and I'm going to bake these for 30 minutes. All right, so since I used up the rest of the shredded cheese, this wasn't originally on my list, but I am adding it. I used the rest of my shredded cheese on that taco dip. I'm gonna go ahead, I have another block here. This is Colby Jack. I'm gonna go ahead and shred this. I just always like to have shredded cheese in the fridge. Makes it nice and easy for when we want it, so I don't have to spend the little bit of extra time shredding it like at dinner time or when we're ready for a meal. So I do have one of the attachments that go to my KitchenAid that I normally use. It makes it a lot quicker when I'm doing a whole block, but I don't want to pull that out. So while my little oatmeal snacks are baking for the dogs, I'm gonna go ahead and just shred this block up. All right, done. I did have 2 quart size bags out. I wasn't quite sure if I was gonna be able to fit it in one, but it did. So this is going to go in the fridge, and those oatmeal bites are almost done. All right, the dog treats, oatmeal bites, are done. I'm gonna let them cool and then get them in a container. All right, sorry, it is a little darker, but I just turned off most of the lights. I normally keep them all on when I am filming, but I'm about to leave the house for a little bit. These are cool enough to handle, so I'm just going to get them into a little container here. And like I said earlier, these will stay in the fridge for up to 3 weeks. So I'm gonna go ahead and get them in here in the fridge so they can start to cool. And then when I get back, I do have just a couple more things I would like to try to get done, but I will go ahead and give one of these to each of the dogs and introduce the dogs just in case you guys are new, so you can see who I am meal prepping for outside of my like human family. But I wanted to go ahead and get these in the fridge. That way they are nice and cool when I get back, because I definitely do not want to give them to them while they are hot or even, you know, lukewarm. I want them to be completely cooled down. All right, you guys, it is actually much later. This might turn into a 3-day, just depends on if I feel like doing the rest of my list. But this old lady right here is Bella. She is our chocolate lab. Here you go, Bella. And of course I give her a treat. I was gonna try to give them one by one. They all run in here. You can see Lily was rolling around outside on the grass. All right, so this is Buford. He is like a mixture. He is a mutt for sure. He's got lab, cocker spaniel. No, Oliver, get down, get down. Oliver wants to make sure he's not missing out on any treats. This is gonna be for Buford. Here you go, Buford. They're moving around too much. The camera's not focusing. Okay. This guy right here is Oliver, and we have not done the DNA test on him yet, but we have it ordered, so it should be here soon. Get down. Oliver, sit. Good boy. There you go. Down. And then this little miss is Lily, and we have not done the DNA test on her yet either. So we're not quite sure what she's got in her, but those are our 4 dogs that I make food for, and you can see they definitely love these peanut butter oat balls. Okay, I have decided to make one more thing tonight. I'm gonna make some banana muffins. As you can see here, I have a lot of bananas. So this bunch I got last week, and it's a fresh week, and I had 2. I didn't have any more during the week, and the kids didn't have any, so they've definitely turned. And then this bunch I got when I did my grocery shopping trip. I did not film it, but I went to the grocery store specifically for food for the dogs, and I read that bananas, they could have bananas. So I bought some to let them try it. They did not like the bananas, so obviously nobody ate any. So I've got a lot of muffins to bake so I can utilize these bananas and they don't go to waste. All right, so I have all of my ingredients out here. I'm actually going to make them a little fun. So I have my bananas, star of the show. I have some salt, baking soda, canola oil, flour, sugar, and chocolate chips, which I add sometimes. Sometimes I do nuts. My kids aren't the hugest fan, so since I'm making a bunch, I'm just going to omit the nuts this time. Also need some eggs, and then I get this off of Amazon. This is only my 2nd time purchasing it, but it is linked in my Amazon store in the description box. And whenever you're doing any kind of baking and you want to add marshmallows, I love using the dehydrated marshmallow bits because they don't melt, get sticky, messy. They stay perfect in whatever you are baking them in. So I'm gonna make these s'mores banana muffins. I thought that would be fun. So we'll see how many batches I can get. It takes about an hour to bake. So I am going to make like big actual muffin size ones. I think that would be fun. The kids normally like split that. but then I'm also going to make as many regular muffins as I can because these freeze perfectly. They will last 6 months in your freezer, no problem. So making them in this amount is going to be fine. But I do definitely recommend silicone liners. They just work great. They pop out no matter what you're baking, whether it is something sweet or something savory, cornbread, breakfast, like little egg cups, whatever. These silicone liners work great. Those are also from Amazon. So all right, last little Amazon link I have for you guys. My banana bread recipe, I've actually shared it on this channel. It is a very old video, but I will link it also in the description box. But I did add the recipe to the very first cookbook that I created with my really good friend Kira and Nicole, and this is also on Amazon in that same link. Like, I have everything in the same link in the description box. I should one day separate it into categories, but I have yet to do that. But this is linked in there, and the recipe is in this book along with a ton of other recipes, not just from me, but like I said, it's with Kira and Nicole, and they are all in here. So that is the recipe that I am following. It's the one that I've been using for years and years and years and years. I've tried lots of different banana bread recipes, and I just feel like this one is very, very moist. It does not dry out even with the long bake time, and it turns out really good every single time. And I've been able to like add in whatever I want. I've added craisins and raisins and, like I said, different kinds of nuts, white chocolate chips, toffee bits, all sorts of stuff. And it's just a really versatile basic recipe that you can add your own flavor profiles in with. So let me go ahead and mix all of this up, and then we will get our baking started. All right, first batch is done. I do, if you are gonna make double, triple batches or whatever, I would recommend just mixing up one batch at a time. This dough can get pretty thick and hard to work with if you try to do more than one. I made that mistake probably last year before. I was like, oh, I'm gonna meal prep and do a whole bunch of batches, and I got a big bowl, and it was really hard to mix because I also hand mix this recipe. I do not use my KitchenAid. I don't use a hand mixer. I just feel like it's better because you're just mixing it until the ingredients are combined, and that's it. That's what keeps this nice and soft, this bread. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these muffins in my oven. It is preheated to 350, and if this was a loaf of bread, it would take a little over an hour, but I'm gonna set my timer for 30 minutes. They might take 40, we shall see, but I am going to check them at 30 minutes. Okay, a second batch is ready, and I was able to get my 6 actual like huge bakery style muffins in here, and then I had plenty left over. This isn't gonna make like a super thick loaf, but enough to make a small loaf, and I think I'm going to wrap this up and give it to my friend Kira over at 50 Shades of Mom. The last time she did a meal prep, and then she came over a couple days later, she brought me some banana, I think it was chocolate chip. I never got one because kids and Mark gobbled them up, but she brought me some banana cookies, and she also brought me some homemade granola bars. Oh my gosh, I need to go back to her video. I will link her meal prep video in the description box in case you guys want to see it, but those granola bars were so good, so good. So she brought me a couple of those, and I definitely want to make those. So the next meal prep video, maybe I will make some of hers. I might switch out. She used butterscotch little chips in hers. I don't know if my kids will be the hugest fan of that, so I might swap it out for something else, but they were really, really good. So I want to return the favor. So I've got a little loaf here for her, but these are going in the oven. And then I do have enough to make one more batch. So I'm gonna make some more of the regular like cupcake size because like I said, those freeze well, and those are super easy for the kids to just grab and go, quick snack, breakfast, whatever. All right, I've got all the little cupcake ones pushed back to the side just so, you know, dogs don't jump up and try to get them. And then I just pulled the muffins out, so they have to cool before I can get them out. But the joys of me being the one cooking everything is I get to try everything first. So this is done. I wanted to just open it up and show you guys. You can't even see the, actually this might be a batch that didn't get a whole lot of the marshmallow bits in it, because you can see, or not batch, but muffin, because you can see them in there, but I don't see many in here. But yummy, so soft. It's really good with some butter on it, and that's what I normally do. I like cut my little cupcake in half and put butter on each side. I've got one more batch of 24 of the cupcake size in the oven. So once all of these cool, I will get them all in freezer bags. I'll leave a few out for us to eat on for this week, but we will be set for a while. Okay, it is the end of the night and I am done. So I would have had 16 of the like cupcake size in each of these bags, but I did eat the one that I broke apart so I could show you guys. So I've got 15 in one of these bags, and then the other two have 16 in them. All 3 of these are going to go in the freezer for now, and then I also have the little loaf that I'm going to see if Kira would like. I've got that wrapped up. That's gonna go in the freezer also. And then over here, I've got the 6, I'll open this up so you guys can see it better. I've got this 6 like muffin size in here so the kids can, like I said, normally they half them. So those will last us for the next week, and then I will pull out a bag from the freezer and we'll just slowly work on them. There's only 3 Pop-Tarts left. So Mark, myself, and Paige all had one and they were fantastic. I actually had one, it was my lunch today. So I had like nothing but breakfast food today, but the other 3 kiddos are excited to try them for breakfast tomorrow. So that'll be fun. And then if you guys watched my Valentine's Day video, these are the cookies. So my bread box is nice and full, that is for sure. 2 things that I did not get done that I had on my list to meal prep. I bought these over Christmas time and I have yet to shell them. I thought it would be something fun to do with the kids, and they just kept getting like stuffed behind things in the pantry. So I'm leaving these sitting out, and maybe when the kids get home from school, they can take turns shelling some of these and helping me with my little sheller thing here, nutcracker, whatever. So anyway, I'm leaving those out. I was hoping to include that in this meal prep, but I am not. And then I also wanted to get some lunches prepped for either, whether it be like a snacky box or actually food for lunch. I have 2 different recipes that I could make for lunches for my husband and I, but I did not get that done, but that is okay. Still got plenty done. And those lunches will definitely get made another day, but I am calling it. I think I accomplished enough between last night and today. All right, well, I made it almost through my list for this time. I've got some nuts to crack. That just makes me crack up. And then I have some lunches that I want to make, but unfortunately, I have run out of time to add that into this video. So I will go ahead and just get that done off camera. Obviously, I share as much as I can with you guys, but not everything. So with that, I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoy meal prepping videos. I do try to do something that will help me out every single week in the kitchen. Not all the time is my list super long. So if you guys would like to see more meal preps, hitting that thumbs up button just lets me know that you enjoy them. Subscribe if you are new, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.